everyone, and welcome to a new video where we dive once again into the fantastic world of dinosaurs. Today, we're going to discover a lot of interesting facts about all of them. And, as always, we'll be using the Great Book of Dinosaurs. Let's open one of its pages to see everything it tells us. Look, here we have a rather strange carnivorous dinosaur. Its name is Mahungasaurus. Its skull reminds me a bit of the Karnotaurus dinosaur's skull. What do you think? The best part is that this is an actual photograph of its skull, or rather, of the fossil remains that have been found thanks to paleontology, which is the science that studies dinosaur fossils. As you can see, it's a pretty large dinosaur, and according to the Dino Facts, it could reach about 7 meters in length and about 2 meters in height. Impressive. And now, let's open our box to see everything that's hidden inside. For now, on the cover, we can see a big Stegosaurus in the middle of the vegetation. Let's open it up. Wow, we have different dinosaurs, so let's take them all out to learn their names and also their main characteristics. Let's see which dinosaur comes out first. And right now, it's really catching my attention. A large crest of spines. This time, it's not a dinosaur, but a prehistoric animal that lived on planet Earth before the dinosaurs. It's called Dimetrodon, and as you can see, its most distinctive feature is the large crest of spines it had along the entire dorsal part of its body. Its body was very similar to that of a lizard, but of a gigantic size. As you can see, it was quadrupedal and walked on all 4 legs. The best part is that it could both dive into the depths of the sea and stay on land. And it was able to eat both fish and small land animals. In addition, it also had a long tail and its jaw was impressive. Look, I like it because it's well articulated. We can move the lower jaw up and down, revealing both its palate and the shape of its tongue. Its teeth were sharp and, above all, very strong and robust. An interesting fact about the Dimetrodon is that this crest of spines had a very important function, which was to help it self-regulate its body temperature. That is, if it was cold, it would position its entire crest of spines toward the sun to warm up its whole body. On the other hand, if it was hot, it would submerge itself in water, and its crest of spines was able to cool everything down. Quite impressive, isn't it? We'll stop here so we can continue with another dinosaur. Wow, and here we have a giant among giants, a super carnivore, a super predator, the great Karnotaurus. I love this figure. It's quite different from the last one.
As you can see,
it has articulated legs. We can move them from side to side, turn its tail, and also move its head both up and down, as well as rotate it 360 degrees. Its front legs were very small compared to the rest of its body. The great Karnotaurus gets its name from the 2 horns it had on its head, which are very similar to the horns of a bull. An interesting fact about the skull of the great Karnotaurus is that its sides were flattened, which helped lighten the weight of its head. Also, even when it kept its jaw closed, the teeth of its upper jaw were always exposed. Let's open its big mouth. According to the latest research, it used these horns to deliver powerful headbutts and blind its opponents. It was a rather heavy dinosaur, so sometimes it had trouble running at high speed. A dinosaur that I love. I like it even more than the great Tyrannosaurus Rex. Let's continue with another figure, and this time we have a dinosaur egg. Inside, we have a baby. What could it be? A herbivore or a carnivore? Well, it's neither of those things. It's actually a flying reptile. It's a pretty small figure, but as you can see, it has all the details. I like it because its wings are articulated. The Tiranodon was a flying reptile that was known for its long beak. In addition, it had a small pouch underneath, very similar to that of pelicans. It could catch fish and store them in the pouch below to eat later. It also had a long horn at the back of its head. Its body was quite slim and thin, very similar to that of modern bats, and it had a long wingspan of more than 2 meters. Therefore, it was a giant of the skies that lived on planet Earth during the Cretaceous period, at the same time as some of the most well-known dinosaurs. Super cool, this little creature. Let's also place the egg and continue with a different one. Wow. Look at what comes out of our box. A gigantic figure with a long-necked dinosaur, the great Brachiosaurus. I like this figure because of all the details it has. Look at all the color on its skin. Also, we can see the detail of its teeth, which aren't very big since it only ate plants, leaves, grass, and fruit. However, its body was gigantic, so it needed tons of food and water every day. It could reach about 22 meters in length. As you can see, its front legs were taller than its hind legs, since its neck was positioned very vertically, so it needed a lot of strength in the front part to support this large neck. However, its head was tiny compared to the rest of its body. What I like most about this figure is that if we turn it around, look, we have the complete skeleton with all the fossil remains of this great Brachiosaurus. Some of its bones were gigantic, while others were smaller, like those that made up the tip of its tail. Let's see more information in the encyclopedia about. Paleontology is the science that studies the fossil remains of dinosaurs, and it is paleontologists who are responsible for extracting all these materials. In order to unearth the bones, they need some very specific tools, such as hammers and chisels. But they also need other very delicate tools, like small brushes, which are very similar to toothbrushes. This is how they extract the bones, and later they can take them to museums so that everyone can learn information about them. Look, here we are seeing a drawing where you can see a natural museum. If you have one nearby, I invite you to visit it, because you will learn a lot of information about the animals that lived on planet Earth millions of years ago. And we keep discovering other dinosaurs. Wow, this figure is also impressive, and it's quite big too. It's the great Tyrannosaurus Rex. I think it's the most famous and well-known dinosaur there is. It was a super predator. I would say it was the greatest predator that has ever existed on planet Earth. It could reach about 14 meters in length, and its head was gigantic. Just its skull alone could measure more than 1.5 meters long. Its jaw was equipped with a total of 60 sharp teeth, and as you can see, its hind legs were very large and robust, just like its tail, which helped it maintain balance by counterbalancing its huge head. The most characteristic thing is that its front legs, as you can see, were really small, especially compared to this giant body, and it only had 2 fingers on each of them. A curious fact is that the Tyrannosaurus Rex, being so heavy, had a hard time running after its prey, so usually what it did to hunt was hide. It would stay hidden behind the vegetation, and when there was some prey that hadn't noticed its presence, it would lunge at it to catch it, holding it with both its hind legs and its impressive jaw. What's your favorite dinosaur? I'm sure that you like it a lot. And we continue with another one. This time we have a fast one, a Velociraptor. No, sorry, an Oviraptor. In this figure, we see it with an egg in one of its hands or in one of its front legs. And according to the latest research, the Oviraptor was responsible for stealing dinosaur eggs from other nests. With this heron-shaped beak, it would peck at the eggs to eat everything inside. Therefore, it was also a pretty fast and swift dinosaur. It weighed very little, and its hind legs were very quick. Therefore, it could go to the dinosaurs' nests, steal the eggs, and run away so it wouldn't be caught by their mothers.
We'll leave it here for now,
and there are only a few dinosaurs left for us to learn about. Here we are looking at a very different figure of a Stegosaurus compared to the previous ones, but what I like the most is this. The inside is filled with Orbeez beads, so we can squish it and stretch it. The Stegosaurus had large bony plates on the top of its body to prevent big bites from predators. It also had a way to defend itself, which was with 4 spikes at the tip of its tail. It would swing it from side to defend itself when a predator approached. Also, its head was super small, especially compared to the rest of its body, which could be about 9 meters long. And now, we only have one more egg left to open. Let's find out which dinosaur is inside. Let's see, and it's one of the most famous dinosaurs from the Jurassic World movies. It's Little Blue, created in a laboratory through DNA modification and the combination of DNA from different dinosaurs. Among them, the Velociraptor Blue is a very intelligent dinosaur and even capable of interacting with humans. As you can see, its front legs, in true Velociraptor style, are quite long. A rather small figure. It comes with all the details, and I was even surprised that it can move its hind legs. And we're done. With today's video, here are some of the dinosaurs we've been able to learn about. If you liked this video, you can help me out by giving me a super like, a thumbs up, and I invite you to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos. And now it's time to say goodbye. I'll see you in the next video with more amazing dinosaurs. Goodbye.